Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first installment of Fish in Fiction, the show where we overanalyze fish in fiction by comparing them to their real-life counterparts. I'm your host, Jamon Jordan, and today we'll be examining the curious case of one Darwin Watterson from the Amazing World of Gumball. We will be putting Darwin against our strict scoring rubric, assessing his morphology, ecology, life history, and vibes to see how he stacks up on our esteemed tier list. Without further delay, let's dive right into it. So we're told by the show that Darwin is Carachus auratus, or a goldfish, which falls in the family Cyprinidae, which is a family of carps and minnows. Funnily enough, Darwin is the 8th Darwin, and he is the least goldfish looking of the previous 7. The show actually does a pretty good depiction of a real life goldfish. So we're just going to use the show's version of a goldfish to compare directly to Darwin. The first thing that we'll notice about his morphology or his physical characteristics is that he lacks a dorsal fin and an anal fin. This is something that I previously thought was a deal breaker, but in doing research for this video, I actually found out that there are over 200 breeds of goldfish. One of them is called the lionhead, and it actually is bred to lack a dorsal fin. So it's actually not unfeasible for this to be the case. Second, Darwin speaks complex English to the surprise of even the Watterson family. This isn't completely out there because fish can vocalize. There are many species of fish that do have vocalizations. They can create grunts or chirps using their swim bladders. They can also communicate in splashes, but there are no known recorded species of fish that can speak complex language. So we're gonna have to deduct some points here. The next thing that we see with Darwin is his saltwater tolerance as he's flushed out to sea. This is not something that goldfish can do in real life. The next thing you'll notice about Darwin is he has lungs. Darwin can breathe air. Funnily enough, this isn't that unrealistic. There are multiple species of fish that exhibit adaptations to supplement or even tolerate breathing in air for long periods of time. The mechanism that fish use to do this isn't spontaneously creating human lungs. It is usually through a modified swim bladder, or in the case of the betta fish, a specialized organ called the labyrinth organ. So I'm actually going to give half credit here. The mechanism is incorrect, but the feasibility of breathing on air as a fish, not far-fetched at all. The next mutation, I'm going to call it, that Darwin undergoes is legs. He says it himself.
I'm a fish with legs.
This also isn't that far-fetched. There are many species of fish that can maneuver outside of the water. The most famous example being mud skippers. They wiggle their bodies, have a tolerance for atmospheric air, and use their pelvic fins to help move them about moist environments. The lesser known species are the bumblebee catfish and Hawaiian gobies. They can actually straight up climb vertical surfaces, like climbing waterfalls, which is something a lot of people can't even do. So I'm actually going to give pretty high points here for Darwin. Goldfish have scales, and it looks like Darwin doesn't, but I'm actually not going to take that many points away for this because certain breeds of goldfish do lack scales on their head, and Darwin is basically mostly head with 2 legs and 2 fins. So, I mean, that's kind of accurate there. Overall, for morphology, he scored a 6 out of 10, which is not bad at all. Our next category is ecology, and this is how an organism interfaces with its environment and other species. So the native habitat of goldfish are countries in East Asia. They typically prefer muddy bottoms, aquatic vegetation, slow-moving freshwater environments. However, your first introduction to a goldfish wasn't in East Asia. It was most likely in a pet store like it's shown in the store. One of the reasons is because they're just so easy to care for and reproduce very quickly. Although they can't tolerate high salinities, they can tolerate a pretty broad range of environmental conditions that a lot of species wouldn't be able to. In this sense, they are a generalist. This is also reflected in their diet as they are omnivorous. This is why goldfish have become a problem in certain parts of the world. When they are released into the wild, when people no longer want them as pets, they become an invasive species, you know, I think he embodies the energy of a goldfish in real life. I mean, just look at him. He is making his way through these treacherous environments. Even being preyed upon by an eagle isn't enough to stop him. So honestly, I was gonna go with a 3 on this one initially because of how well he survived in the ocean, but I might bump him up to like a 5 because, you know, I do think the energy he embodies is very much so that of a goldfish in an exotic environment. Yeah. All right, let's go on to life history. So talking about life history refers to an organism's natural life cycle. So from their birth to adulthood. We weren't really given that much information on how Darwin was actually born. The episode more so focuses on how he came into the lives of the Watterson family. So goldfish in the wild typically need colder water for spawning, and then they need warmer waters for the hatching and the juveniles to grow. And these eggs are laid in large quantities attached as little nodules under aquatic vegetation. In the show, Darwin thinks babies come from cabbages, so he thought that that's where he came from. And we also never see his biological parents in the show. So given the lack of data we have to go with, I'm just going to give him a straight 5. We're going to keep it neutral. The last category, vibes. So I like to think of this category similar to the end of a game of Mario Party, where you think you know who's going to win, but you get the bonus stars based on how you performed in miscellaneous areas. And that's kind of what this is. Darwin scores pretty freaking high on the vibes. And it all really has to do with the juicy lore in his name. Darwin's full name is
Darwin, Spin, Ahab, Poseidon, Nicodemus, Watterson III.
I don't know why it's the 3rd when he is like the 8th Darwin, but we're not gonna stress out about that. His first name is likely a reference to Charles Darwin, the founder of the theory of evolution and principles of natural selection. Ironically, Darwin's actual origin story more so supports Lamarckism, which was the alternative theory at the time to evolution. Lamarck was the guy that pushed the idea of use and disuse. There's a classic example of a giraffe. The giraffe started off as this species that was feeding on leaves that were higher and higher in the trees. In doing so, it used more of its neck, and as a result, its offspring became more and more long-necked. Now we know that that isn't supported anymore because changes that aren't recorded in the DNA cannot be passed on to your offspring. But at the time, you could see why it was a compelling theory. And honestly, Darwin embodies more Lamarckism in how he grew legs and lungs in order to reunite himself with Gumball. Technically, those are mutations because it's happening to him while he's alive, but you get the idea. Anyways, juicy lore in his first name. Second name, Raglan. Raglan could be a reference to a World War II vessel. Darwin's third name is Caspian, which is the largest body of inland water in the world. His fourth name is Ahab, which was the captain in Moby Dick who was obsessed with hunting the white whale. His fifth name is Poseidon, which needs no introduction as the god of the sea in Greek mythology. Darwin's second to last name is Nicodemus, which is a reference to Saint Nicodemus, who was known for his love of all things, which is something that you see in Darwin from the get-go. He just is full of love, so much so that he was able to mutate and reunite with the Wattersons. Another thing that I think is cool about this is that since this is a biblical reference, typically in Christianity you are baptized when giving yourself to Jesus Christ. In the case of Darwin, it's kind of a reverse baptism. He's born in the water and then he comes out of it becoming this kind of reverse mermaid creature thing. For vibes, I'm going to give Darwin a 10 out of 10. This gives Darwin a final score of 26 out of 40, placing him squarely in the B tier, which is a good standard for us to move forward with this series. So, thank you all for watching. Please check out other videos on the Black and Marine Science YouTube channel. Drop a comment down below for which fictional fish we should look at next. And until next time, peace.